Well, it's not unusual for federal prosecutors in New Orleans to go after high-profile public figures.
Sabrina Wilson now looks at their record.
The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District located in New Orleans secured the indictment against Mayor LaToya Cantrell. The office is no stranger to high-profile prosecutions. In 2014, the office successfully prosecuted former New Orleans Mayor Ray Nagin on federal bribery, money laundering, and other corruption charges. Former St. Tammany DA Walter Reed was convicted in 2016 on conspiracy to commit wire fraud and money laundering and other charges. And in 2000, under then U.S. Attorney Eddie Jordan, the Eastern District Office prosecuted and a jury convicted former Louisiana Governor Edwin Edwards on corruption charges, sending him to prison for years.
The federal government, in fact, has a role in prosecuting not just federal officials for official corruption, but state and local ones.
Generally speaking, public corruption cases involve alleged wrongdoing by public officials and people in law enforcement. Analyses by Syracuse University provide insight into the level of prosecutions by the New Orleans-based U.S. Attorney's Office. With data from the U.S. Department of Justice, Syracuse's Transactional Records Access Clearinghouse, known as TRAC, keeps up with the number of prosecutions by U.S. attorneys' offices around the country. Dr. Susan Long heads the Civic Research Data Lab at Syracuse.
What our reporting here at Syracuse is focused on is really trying to get the facts out, as well as to allow people in a local community to compare their local community to what's happening across the country in the more than 90 federal judicial districts to know what their government is doing.
Long authored this TRAC report. It shows the U.S. Attorney's Office in New Orleans topped the list of the most active judicial districts prosecuting official corruption during 2021. Specifically, during the first 6 months of FY21, the report says federal prosecutors in New Orleans filed public corruption charges against the largest number of defendants in the nation, 34 people, compared to 16 the Washington, D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office filed.
It was a very unusual period where, in fact, usually the District of Columbia, where all those federal government officials are largely, the large numbers are based, are number one. But in that period of time, there was a very large number of prosecutions filed, even larger for the full year, in the Eastern District of Louisiana.
And when the data was looked at, in terms of population, Louisiana's Eastern District ranked second behind the D.C. office.
D.C. had larger per capita, although fewer numbers of prosecutions to the Eastern District of Louisiana.
Per capita aside, one would think that means the Eastern District of Louisiana was pretty active.
Oh, absolutely. It was number one among all federal judicial districts during that period in the number of official corruption prosecutions.
Fast forward to this report Syracuse's TRAC issued on April 2024 data. It says the DOJ reported 40 new overall federal prosecutions by the New Orleans U.S. Attorney's Office during April of last year, and that number was down 21.6% over the previous month. However, the report says when monthly 2024 criminal prosecutions were compared with those from the same period in 2023, the number of filings was up 113.7%. According to TRAC, year-to-date Eastern Louisiana federal prosecutions through June of this year show the government reported 40 new prosecutions in the Eastern District. It says if this activity continues at the same pace, the annual total of prosecutions will be 480 for this fiscal year. While it wasn't a public corruption case, federal prosecutors in the Eastern District put New Orleans DA Jason Williams and an associate on trial in 2022 on federal tax charges. Ultimately, Williams was acquitted on all charges by a federal jury.
It involved a sitting district attorney, actually involved allegations that predated his term in office, predated his election that brought him to office, and dealt with his private business.
And now the latest high-profile prosecution by federal prosecutors in Louisiana's Eastern District involves Mayor Cantrell.
With official corruption, in fact, there is not enough resources to prosecute everybody that breaks the law. And therefore, there's a lot of discretion involved.
While Cantrell is presumed innocent until proven otherwise, it's clear federal prosecutors feel they have a strong case against her. Dr. Long says Syracuse University obtains information for the track reports through Freedom of Information Act requests. She says it's very valuable for the public to see where their tax dollars are going related to federal prosecutions.
Thank you, Sabrina. A New Orleans sex trafficking